Don't call it a dynasty. It's a call to action. The New England Patriots need some offensive line help. Stick around. You're about to be locked into Mock Draft Monday here on the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots, free and available on all platforms. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. Folks, today's podcast sponsored by BetterHelp. It is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online, available to people worldwide, and they have a special offer for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. Folks, it is always an honor to join you on the microphone and bring you the action like only we can here each and every Monday morning, bringing you back from the weekend. It's a little bit of a different feel bringing you back from Super Bowl weekend, even when your New England Patriots are not one of the participants. A lot to break down in this one, so joining me here today is the only man that could lend the monster opinions we need and also his monster wisdom and counsel to Mock Draft Monday, my good friend, my colleague, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com. Murph, the Philadelphia Eagles held the lead, or they maintained a tie for 3 quarters of Super Bowl 57. But Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter, scrambling for 26 yards on the go-ahead drive. Harrison Butker kicking a 27-yard field goal with 8 seconds left to give the Chiefs a 38-35 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night. We all know how most of the national media is handling this. We all know that Chiefs fans are elated, as they should be. We know that Philadelphia fans right now are not happy. What was your reaction to the game as a whole, the action you saw on the field? What are your takeaways from Super Bowl 57?
Turnovers kill. Okay, I predicted turnovers from Patty Mahomes and didn't get them. Somebody grew up quite a bit, didn't force things, took what was given to him. And Nick Sirianni is an idiot. He's a flippin' moron. Okay, you guys all talk about the genius that is holding the clipboard in Philadelphia. The man made no adjustments at halftime. He was just like, we're rolling, no problem. If it wasn't for Hurts' fumble, we would be securely in the driver's seat here. And in the second half, Andy Reid proved that he is one of the best play callers, one of the best schemers, one of the best coaches in NFL history. All he had to do was get out of Philadelphia and, find Patrick Mahomes.
And that's a pretty good find. No question about it. But
not too shabby.
Yeah, not too shabby, but definitely. I'm glad that you mentioned Andy Reid. I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line. We're going to get into that in just a moment because there really was a tremendous amount of praise and honor that belongs on their names as well. You have to be impressed with what Mahomes did. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Before we get into what I know will inevitably kind of filter down into some dynasty talk. We're going to have to do it here.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do it here.
Okay.
But when you look at the New England Patriots on the brain, Murph, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, a lot is going to be placed on the call at the end of the game without any question, folks. 3rd and 8 from Philadelphia's 15-yard line, under 2 minutes to play. Game tied at 35. James Bradbury put his hand on receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
They did it at the
Just
top of his
touched
route,
him.
kind of like a little hand on the back, a little tug on the jersey, whistled for defensive holding. Murph, I don't think there's anybody questioning whether or not it was a hold. I think everybody is looking at it and saying, yeah, you know what? It's kind of a, I hate
Yeah,
using
I'm
this
not.
term, but I'm going to use the
I am.
ticky-tack hold.
I am.
Um, do you have a problem with the refs making a call on that stage
Yeah,
in that moment?
I do.
Because it really, really did, I think, put a little bit of a damper on the end of that game that could have been legendary.
It really did, man. These referees swallowed their whistles, kept the flags in the pocket for the entire freaking game, the entirety of this game. I had 11 holding calls spread out between both of these teams. I had 6 blocking in the back calls spread out. Most of them were on Kansas City, but there are a couple that the Eagles are not a thing. No penalties whatsoever. And to throw that flag in that, just to say, yeah, I'm gonna, make myself relevant in this game in some way, shape, or form before we get out of here. And throwing that flag at that time was egregious. The only thing worse than that call was the turf that these guys had to play on yesterday.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. And that's another good thing that I'm glad you brought up. The field conditions in this game were abysmal. I mean, you heard, you know, analyst after analyst on Twitter, lament about what they were watching. You saw fans really calling this out. I mean, this was
Yep.
really, really overt. Players, former players that are currently playing, looking at the playing
Yeah.
conditions. Um, and then, obviously, I mean, all you really had to do was watch the game to see the
Mhm.
players slipping around. A lot of different. I mean, there was nearly a slip on a kickoff. I mean, you cannot have that happen in the Super Bowl. Just very odd. I mean,
Yeah.
it struck me as being odd, especially when you heard everything going into this, that there were 2 years of preparation into getting the turf and the sod and,
They
the
grew
laying
this.
down.
They grew this for this game.
Yeah, just really, really, really surprising that this came down the way it did and that this happened, especially on the game's grandest stage. You want to make
Right.
sure that every T is crossed, every I is dotted. You're putting your best foot forward out there on the field. It wasn't it, and it
No.
really, I think, was a factor in this game as well for both teams. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
it favored
And
one
they
over the
both
other.
had to play on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the point. The
Right.
point is that for 2 years they schemed and plotted to get this turf in there, and nobody had stepped on it. No
Yeah.
one.
Right.
It was like my senior year of high school when they trucked in new turf from Rhode Island, of all places. They trucked in new turf from Rhode Island, and we weren't allowed to practice on it at all.
Yeah.
So, and we got out there and it came up and it slipped out from underneath our feet. It was impossible to block on. I really don't know how Kansas City's offensive line did the job that they did on this field.
Yeah, tremendous job by the O
It
line of
was it
Kansas
was
City
it was
last night.
fantastic.
It really was for a team that has been maligned, I think, for the last 2 or 3 years about the deficiencies that they've had
Yep.
on offensive line play, including their last appearance in the Super Bowl, where Mahomes looked like he was
Yeah.
running for his life at times and really having a difficult time holding up against that fierce Tampa Bay front seven. They did a tremendous job against one of the
Right.
league's best. So definitely a tip of the cap
Really.
to the Kansas City Chiefs O line and a big time tip of the cap to former New England Patriot Joe Thuney. I don't care. He's still a Patriot at heart. He's still
Yeah.
number one in New England's heart. Great guy to cover up here, and you're glad to see Joe get his
Yep.
success. But
Money well spent.
exactly, yeah, it was for them. It absolutely was, and he's being proven that it's worth every penny. Murph, you know that Patriots fans had a little bit of a tough time watching this one yesterday. We talked about it on Friday. We had our own fun, talked about our favorite Patriots Super Bowl moments, but you're
Yep.
going to hear a lot of this in the course of the next couple of weeks. And I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't at least broach the subject for a couple of minutes. And I don't want to spend an awful lot of time because I don't think it deserves an awful lot of time.
Okay.
That could be just my opinion, but that's how we're going to handle it right here today. You hear the words dynasty and GOAT
Yeah.
thrown around, I think, far too haphazardly in this society, in this sports kingdom. There's no question about it that there's a lot of overt, maybe even some would claim obnoxious attempts by a certain four-letter network and over
Yep.
in your neck of the woods, buddy, that is really showing their rooting interest. Folks, if you don't believe me, take a look at some of the social media posts. I mean, these were definitely crafted far in advance, and they look,
Yep.
very much like a
A
coronation.
bunch of 19-year-old interns sat down in a room somewhere and said, "What are we going to say if?"
Yep.
And then they went out on scheduled
Mm.
tweets.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's
It
terrible.
is. It is. And you hear the players, you hear the coaches, and everybody that really has a brain, and I include some analysts in that because clearly some don't. I'm not
Hmm.
going to mention any names, but just take a little search on Twitter and you'll start to see some of the ones that pop up that really stand out as just, kind of doing this for attention. But I'm extremely impressed by what I've seen from Kansas City the last few years. If you're talking
Yeah.
about a team of the 2010s, they're obviously your team, and I don't think there's any question about that. But is it still, in my opinion, it's still a little bit too early to start putting them in the rarefied air of the New England Patriots?
Right.
But I really want to shout out a guy that I think did a tremendous job of explaining exactly what this means. Folks, if you haven't checked out Burn Bookmaster's column this morning from Pat's Pulpit, definitely do it. Burn is one of the great guys. He's joined us here on Locked On Patriots on a couple of occasions. One of the true class acts in the business. And really, I think, pinpoint very well that making an argument like this misses the entire point. It not only cheapens what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing right now, it
Right.
cheapens what the New England Patriots did for 2 decades in two separate
Right.
eras. If you really want to go and really start breaking it down,
Right.
Kansas City hasn't equaled what the Patriots did in one dynasty stint yet.
Right.
I think it's a little early, but
It
what are
is.
your thoughts?
It is. Byrne hit it on. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I did retweet it. Byrne is one of the few people on the planet that I will blind retweet because his
Mhm.
work is that good.
It is.
Um, and it's true. I was the first person to write that Tom Brady didn't have one Hall of Fame career. He had two.
Mhm.
What the Chiefs have done over the last 5 years is amazing. Okay, it is only surpassed by a couple of teams in the NFL in its history. The Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, and
Mhm.
the Steelers back in the 70s, and of course, you know the um, the 49ers, what they were able to do over 20 years, because it was a 20-year run, because they were relevant and in NFC Championship games for 15 years. Okay, we'll say
Mhm.
15 years. And of course, the New England Patriots. But congratulations. You're almost a third of the way there. You're
Yeah.
almost a third of the way there in comparing yourself to what the Patriots have done over the last 20 years. But you're not there. Okay. And now go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I was just going to say, I think that in so many ways, you hit the nail right on the head. And this is in no way the level-headed Patriots fan and the level-headed Chiefs fan will sit down, look across the table from one another and say, you know what? You're right. What the Patriots fans are saying is not that the Chiefs are not going to be able to
No,
equal what they did, or they're not going to be able to get there. We don't have that Belichickian crystal ball that's going to predict the
no.
future. What they're doing right now is extremely impressive, and they're doing it at an amazing clip. But to base your next level, uh, you know, you're basically to do what you're doing and
To
say that
forecast.
this team, exactly, to say that this team is already there when it's more of a prediction than actually a coronation
Right.
is really, I think, a very slippery slope. And it takes away from what these guys have been able to do the last few years, and it really takes away from the Patriots were able to do in previous seasons. So
It is.
I'm in
I mean,
agreement. I think it's a little too early for this one.
I didn't start talking about Tom. I talked about after the Patriots had won their third Super Bowl. I talked about that was a dynasty.
Yeah.
Okay, they'd won back-to-back titles. They'd won three in what, 5 years or 4 years. It's so long ago, I don't remember. But I didn't talk about Tom Brady being the best that ever was until he got his fourth ring.
Hmm.
Okay, you could not do that. You could not say it. Once he got his fourth ring after he'd been to 6 Super Bowls, then yes, I was full on board. Brady is the best that ever, and now it's just far and away. What Mahomes is going to have to do over the next 5 or 6 years, because let's face it, folks, that's what he has left. He's not going to.
Hmm.
Pat Mahomes is not going to play for 22 years. It's not
Yeah,
going to
that I
happen.
don't think you'll see again. I don't think you're going to
You
see another
know,
Tom Brady come
it's
along in
not.
22 years.
I think he'll peak for another. When his legs go, and they're going to go, that's when it's going to be over, sadly. I enjoy watching him play. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate what the media and what the fan base in Kansas City has done to him, and I can't stand his
Yeah,
wife.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
That's
Well,
it.
I'm not going to touch the
That's
wife
it.
comment. I'm
You
going to
know,
leave that aside.
I can't stand the wife and the brother and it's the rings around Saturn that I don't like.
Yeah, I think we can all be in agreement on the comment about not hating Patrick Mahomes. I think
Right.
he's not a hateable guy. He
No.
really is. He's a humble kid. Said all the right things after the game. I mean, he
Right.
said, I think we've got a ways to go to get to a
Yep.
dynasty. I'm trying to improve each and every year. I like the team we have coming back next year. I do believe he's sincere in that. I don't think it's an act. I think it's right from the heart. And so
Right.
he's a likable guy. He's a good guy to root for.
He's not trying to be liked.
Yeah, where the animosity is coming across, where the animosity comes across, and I think it's on both sides, is the fuel of the fire that you see
Right.
when you see tweets go out, old goat worse than the new goat, and all these other garbage tweets that you see
Yep.
throwing all around all over the place. And yeah, folks, I mean, Google that one, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about here. This is what fuels the fire, and I understand that it's part of the game, but it's not part of what we should be
Rational
doing.
thinking.
Exactly. It's not part of what we should be doing in terms of pushing a narrative just to raise the ire of the other
Right.
side. Your job is to be objective. Your job is to tell the truth. Your job is to mix in your opinion when you're
Yeah.
paid to do that. But do it in a way that's constructive and do it in a way that comes from a place that's genuine, not to simply chase clout. You got a lot of clout chasing going on right now of people that are falling over backwards to try to
Right.
canonize the next big thing
That's
simply because it's the new shiny toy and you want to
Yep.
move the old models out.
How
It's
many
not a car
of
lot,
these
folks.
guys has Tom Brady laid to waste in his career, including
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, who in the 2 games that it really counted did exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you over the years we've heard the next great thing, be it discount double choke up there in Green Bay, or whomever, Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger. They were all supposed to make everyone forget about Tom Brady, and in the end, it's still Tom Brady sitting at the top of that mountain.
Yeah. And the one common denominator that all of those quarterbacks have when you look at it is significant games against Tom Brady. He's been
Yep.
the only constant. He'll invite these guys to the conference finals. He'll invite them to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. He'll bring them in, but he's been the only constant. If there is a guy in professional football right now that has the capability to do it, it is Patrick Mahomes. But it's a
Yep.
little early, folks. Give the kid a chance to live into his legacy, grow into his greatness, not into
Kid in
the
Cincinnati ain't bad either.
yeah, the kid in Cincinnati ain't bad at
Screw that
all.
up.
And if
Cincinnati will screw that up,
and if there's any truth to be believed with some of the reports that were flying around on Super Bowl Sunday, he's about to be a very well paid, pretty good guy in Cincinnati.
Yep.
But you got to make the argument he deserves it. But
He deserves it.
give
And
these
then,
kids, yeah, exactly.
I know we didn't want to talk about it a lot, but then on the other side of the coin is Travis Kelce.
Mhm.
All right, just shut up. Okay, honestly, just shut up. You have nothing to add to the conversation that is going to make you, Kansas City, or Patrick Mahomes look any better. Least of all, your mother. I'm glad she has 2 kids, because I hear her other son is a lot nicer of a person.
Well, I mean,
He's a
I'll be the
lineman.
first. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, I didn't really hear a whole lot of the anti, Chiefs rhetoric that was going on about how this team was never going to be able to win and they're counting them out. And I didn't hear that at all. The
I didn't
Chiefs
hear
were
it.
consistently, I
Right.
think, one of the more
One of the
praised and
favorite.
one of the more hyped and one of the favorites, exactly, in terms of the betting lines for for this spot right all season. So, folks, take it for
No
what
one
you
believed
will.
in
I
it.
mean,
Blah, blah, blah. Suck on it. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
Give me a break.
we'll leave it at that. Yeah, taking a little page out of the Rodney Harrison book, there's no question about it. But Rodney had a little reason to have a chip on his shoulder. So
Yeah.
you know what? He's our guy. We're going to let him slide on that.
He gets a pass.
Absolutely. Folks, it is still Mock Draft Monday here on
Yeah.
Locked On Patriots. And while Murph and I are standing pat in our thoughts that Sunday's win didn't change the dynasty debate, it didn't change the GOAT debate. It did teach us one thing, though, folks. Kansas City's offensive line and play calling by Andy Reid were a big part of the reason why the Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. And if your New England Patriots have any chance of getting back into contention, they need to address both holes. They already did one by hiring Bill O'Brien as their offensive coordinator. Will they do the other through the draft? Well, Murph and I are going to discuss that in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues as we kick off another Mock Draft Monday. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. Folks, we live in complex times, and whether it be emotional stress, financial stress, health-related stress, or social stress, trying therapy can help you unload that stress and move forward in gaining emotional healing. Unfortunately, life doesn't come with a user manual, so when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Everyone deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. As the world's largest therapy service, they've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. They have all the benefits of in-person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. Folks, it couldn't be easier. So don't delay, do it today. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Patriots fans, the legendary Thomas Murphy joins me here today, courtesy of E2Gsports.com. Murph, we had some definite opinions, for lack of a better term, on Sunday's win for the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57, but it's Locked On Patriots. We're turning the page. We're making it all about the Pats right now. And folks, that's right. It may be the day after the Super Bowl, but we could not, in good conscience, walk away without a little Mock Draft Monday. And we've got a couple of doozies for you.
Yeah.
We definitely can't wait to share these. So, Murph, we're going to dive right in. We're going to waste any time here. We're going right to work. And our man, Jason Sullivan, delivered a tour de force
Go ahead,
here.
Sully.
No question about it. We've got his mock draft, folks. You can see it right on your screen for the benefit of those of you watching on YouTube. Folks, if you're not watching on YouTube, you can definitely check this out. We'll be tweeting out both mock drafts after our recording today, so you'll be able to check that out. Go to LO_Patriots, and you'll see the draft in front of you. But Sul right away goes for it. He trades the number 14 pick to the Detroit Lions, gets the 18th pick in the back, a third rounder in for the number 81, and then another third rounder in 2024. Not a bad haul for the number 14 pick. Moving 14 spots back. This is a deep draft for the holes that you have. I like this move. I thought it was a smart move.
Yeah, I do too. The Patriots have a lot of different holes to fill this offseason. What we're all talking about free agents and who to bring in. We could be losing. I hate when I do that. The Patriots could be losing quite a few fine pieces, and what Sully has done here is fill those holes or at least add depth to what the Patriots have and what we're hoping that they bring in. I'm just going to say JSN at the first. This kid's the best wide receiver in the draft. Okay, the only reason that you would see a bad grade in picking him in the first round is because of his injury history. Fantastic pick right there. Emmanuel Forbes, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he has everything there in the second round. Grabbing him at 50, Sully has filled two holes right there. Blake Freeland, I really like. That's coming out of BYU, you have got to have it in between the ears. You've got to be able to block for a program that essentially moves a quarterback around, and you have got to be on top of your game from the first snap to the last. I like this pick a whole lot. Mike, what do you think of Sully's draft here?
I like Sully's draft, and I really, for the reasons that you described, obviously JSN being the crown jewel of this, I think
Yep.
it's hard to argue that. If you're going to go
Mm-mm.
wide receiver in the first round, this kid checks all the boxes
Right.
of being able to really succeed in an O'Brien system. We talked about him a little bit last week and
We did.
having been chosen in that
Yep.
mock draft. Obviously, Emmanuel Forbes is someone that I think is an interesting
Yeah.
choice here. I really love the competitive nature of the way this kid plays football.
He's a
He really is.
playmaker.
He's very much aggressive at the point of the catch. He'll go up, he'll contest. Really at his best when you align him in the press, and that to me is
Yeah.
where he's at his best. He can really disrupt the timing, the wide
Great
receiver, the
point.
quarterback. This kid reads it very, very well. His skill set is maybe a little bit more advanced, dare I say, than what the Patriots got in Jack Jones last year.
Yeah.
Now, Jones competes an awful lot at the
Right.
catch point, and he's very aggressive and really, I think, a very good ball hawk. I wonder if a choice like this would be a little bit competitive. The Patriots may want to get someone a little bit more of a complement out there on the perimeter, but if you're going with a player with great instincts, this
Yep.
is a guy that it really can't pass up. I like this move by Sull
No.
on this one.
It
like
is. I like this a lot. And he Sully went out and he tried to get an A out of me. He would have at the top of the draft, but I mean he took Deuce Vaughn in the 4th round. You want to make Murph happy? Find a way to get Deuce Vaughn into a draft.
Yeah, absolutely, and he did, and he
And he
absolutely
did.
did. Of course, the draft odds really didn't like that so much, but
No, but they're idiots. They're
what
morons.
what do they know?
What do they know?
Keep it here on Locked On Patriots for the analysis you truly need, folks. No, I'm just kidding. That's true of
Yep.
Murph. I like to try to throw my hat in the
Yep.
ring every now and then as well. I am wisdomous on occasion. Dallas Goedert had a couple of good grabs last night. I stand
Yeah.
by my prediction.
Yeah,
They just didn't utilize him correctly.
that was a fantastic and the Chiefs went on and they adjusted to that in the second half and did the best they could to keep him from being the MVP in that game. Let's not digress though.
See what I did? I took the attention away and I put it on myself. True. No, I'm kidding, folks. You mentioned Freeland, and to me, I think Blake Freeland coming in at 76 in the 3rd round here.
That's fantastic.
Very, very good value here.
Yeah,
this is why I really love Sully.
Then he double dipped and went out and grabbed DeJuan Jones, and we all know that the kids from Ohio State just translate so well into the NFL at the offensive line. We're not talking quarterbacks here. That's not what we're doing. We're talking about offensive
no, the
line.
Offensive line without question.
I'm all for it. And just to make Claire happy, look what he did down there at 102. What was that? 102, 190? What was that? He took Shoemaker.
That is 192, Murph.
Yeah, 192. Yep. Oh my God, man. This kid is a blocking machine that was not used enough as a pass catcher while he was at Michigan. So just to grab that one down the end there at 192, that was a fantastic pick. I don't care what anybody says.
No, really, really good. Absolutely. And yeah, just to bring it back to Freeland for just a second, talking to my now Locked On colleague here, Damian Parson, and great analyst for the Draft Network, and compared Freeland, and I think this is really good. He says Connor McDermott with an awful lot of upside, and I like that
there
comparison.
You go.
I think
that
it's
was
really,
brilliant.
really good. 6'8", 305 pounds. You're not going to worry about size with this kid.
Nope.
Really, this kid shines in the run game. That's where he's really at his best. But he can identify. He can identify the pass protection as well. Right. He's very good at being able to use his hands to his advantage, cut off blocks. This is something that I think the Patriots could really benefit from. And if they come away with Blake Freeland, especially with someone of a football IQ as high as his, the Patriots are doing something special.
Yep.
Wrapping it up really quickly here, Murph, your grade on Sully's draft overall.
Oh, it's a solid B+. It's a solid B+. You could push it to an A. I'm not doing that simply because people will say he drafted Deuce Vaughn.
Well, brownie points earned you a little bit, but I'm giving him a B+ for all those same reasons, but not maybe so much over the top when it comes to drafting Deuce Vaughn. But I love the moves that he made. I like Forbes coming in, and then how could you not love
Christopher Smith is a sneaky good pick right there.
Yeah. Very sneaky good pick. Someone that I think could thrive in this system, and the versatility that he shows. And again, high football IQ, a lot of leadership on the field. drawing a lot of comparisons to Devin McCourty. And I said that a
Yep.
couple of times here on these airwaves. Folks, keep an eye on Christopher Smith, whether it's here in New England or elsewhere. That's a name that I think you're going to hear a lot of over the next few weeks. And excuse me, next few weeks. Yeah, over the next few weeks, definitely. But I think it's going to be a name you'll hear over the next few years as well.
Combine's coming.
Absolutely, it is coming.
Combine's
Folks,
coming.
we are not completely done here yet on Locked On Patriots because it is still Mock Draft Monday, and Murph and I have one more to break down from our good friend Andrew Caraway. Folks, trust me, you're not going to want to miss this when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsback app. It's safe, it's secure, it's super easy to use, and then you can bet on everything from the money line to the point scorers and the threes that are drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com/locked on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Patriots fans, the legendary Count of Murphy Fisto, Thomas Murphy, joins me here today, breaking down Super Bowl 57, diving into Mock Draft Monday here on the Locked On Patriots podcast. That's right, no days off. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead here. And Murph, we had a really, really good submission from our guy Sully just a few moments ago. Definitely, folks, you saw it here on YouTube. If you haven't, check it out on our Twitter page. We did tweet that out. And we have another one here to help close things out in style. And Andrew knocked it out of the park once again.
Wow.
Our good friend Andrew Caraway continues to be a draft star, a rock star. Yeah, we're going to use that term. That doesn't mean Kiss is going to pop through my back door, folks. We're going to continue to go forward here. I like that commercial. I like seeing all the old rockers. Billy Idol looked great. But in any case, Broderick Jones at the top of this draft, folks.
Please.
Tackle,
please.
That's as a big need. I can't even finish the sentence, folks. It's a big need. You look at what this guy brings to the table, and he's being touted as one of the top two. I know Paris is the other guy that everybody is really, kind of salivating over right now. But I think in a lot of ways you're talking 1A when it comes to these guys. Murph, when you look at Andrew's draft, I know he went with a Georgia guy. Take that out of the equation because he is top of the heap at his position. What are your thoughts right off the bat? Did he start off with a grand slam here?
I'm not sure if the other two came off the board first, and then Andrew took Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. But it was, we need more Joneses in Patriots uniforms. We just simply don't have enough. And the one that I want this year is Broderick Jones. I saw this at the top. If Broderick Jones is there at 14 and you don't have the option to take a can't miss cornerback, then this is what you're doing. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Regardless of what happens in stay off Twitter, people. They make you stupid. Regardless of what happens in free agency this year, we all know what I want. I want two tackles brought in here in free agency. If you can grab Broderick Jones right then and there, you go and get him. This is a fantastic pick. If he's there at 14, I'm doing cartwheels up and down Main Street.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that. 6'4", 315, but plays a lot more athletic than his frame would suggest.
He's not. He's not undersized. We're all looking for that 6'6", 374-pound tackle, but this kid is not that. But he is not undersized.
Yeah, he's got. I don't want to say. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't want to say Isaiah Wynn with an attitude, but look, there is a no quit mentality with this kid that you
Yep.
see, and it jumps off the page every time you watch a piece of film regarding him, or anytime you watch highlights or anything
He's
regarding
mean.
Broderick right now. He does got that finisher
He's mean.
mentality. Yeah, you're not going to see this kid quit on a block. You're not going to see him
Mm-mm.
give up on a play. He plays through the whistle and beyond the whistle.
Pancakes.
So yeah, I'm so glad that you
Pancakes.
mentioned that. Go back and take a look at that. You see
Yeah.
him throwing pancakes all the time, and these are traits in an offensive lineman that really I think the Patriots desperately need. You need a
Yep.
little bit of that gumption, that attitude, that mean streak, and
I
he's got it.
said all last year. All right, I'm sorry to step on you, Mike. I said
Oh no,
all
you didn't.
last
I was
year that the Patriots don't have any bullies on this team.
mm-hmm.
None. They have good players. But there are no bullies.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no Zeus Hightower right now on the defensive side. There's no Logan Mankins on the offensive side on the line. They need the bullies. There's no Gronkowski on this team. You got to start building and doing it with bullies, and Broderick Jones is a bully
Yeah, he absolutely is. You solve that
on the
problem in
field,
a big
just
way.
on the field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, you're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right. But you solve that problem in a big way by
Mm-hmm.
bringing in someone like a Broderick Jones. Murph, top to bottom, you look at Andrew's draft. I think he continues to make good pick
Yeah.
after good pick. A couple that stood out to me. I mean, Brenton Cox Jr. on the edge at 192. Phenomenal value there.
Yeah.
This kid has the ability to come in, I think, be an impact player from day one.
Right.
Maybe not a starter, but someone that can
No.
give you quality minutes at
Yeah.
that position. Loved that pick. And I really, on his Senior Bowl film, Murph, I'm liking what I see from Jaden Reed. I know he's
Yeah.
a Michigan State guy. I know it's not your favorite program, but
Yeah.
there's something about this kid that I look at and I say, you know what? I think a lot of people are sleeping on this kid. Maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe the Senior Bowl performance wakes it up a little bit.
No, I agree. I like the Jake Moody pick better.
Yeah.
Michigan thing.
Probably more of a need
But
there.
they're
Yeah.
fantastic, and the center that he grabbed there from Michigan in round 4, that's fantastic. Henry, say it for me. To can't do it. Can't do it. The Alabama
Isn't it,
kid.
it's Tuoto, isn't it? I think isn't that
Tuoto, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm still hungover. Tuoto. That's a fantastic pick at linebacker. There's a man that has a bully streak in him too. I like it. Trey Dean is a fantastic ball player. He's not going to come in here and start. I would hope, if we can talk McCourty into staying for another year to mentor him a little bit and teach him the game. But what are you going to expect there in round 5? Will Mallory is a sleeper tight end for a lot of people in this draft. I think he could come in and, I don't want to say be the next guy, but be a solid guy in the rotation.
Yeah, no question about it. You definitely want to see, good opportunities or big opportunities, I should say, for good players that can come in and make an impact. None of the guys that you're seeing in that latter part of the draft are going to be immediate starters. I think there's capability there, but at the same time, you're bringing in guys that can help build your program. And the Patriots are as good as any, if not doing that, about getting late round gems. They've always been good at that, even though I know the Bill Can't Draft crowd is going to be out in droves over the course of the next couple of weeks, right through the combine, picking guys that they're saying, well, this is what the Patriots should do, but they're not going to. Last couple of years, I think the Patriots have done a pretty good job at picking guys that maybe were off players or analyst radars, but ended up coming in and having pretty good careers. Guys like Kyle Duggar, Josh Uche. Yeah, they're looking pretty good in those regards.
And don't overlook Jonathan Mingo in this draft. That's
absolutely
a fantastic
good
pick
point.
Right there.
Very good
brilliant.
point.
Just brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely. So overall grade on Caraway's performance here. I know. Yeah,
it's a straight A. It's an A from top to bottom. I don't care what any grade sitting over there on the right hand side might have said. Like I said, morons. But no, it's an A. We don't often like to do people's drafts back to back, folks. When they submit them, we like to give as much airtime to as much of you as Mike does. This is Mike's show. It's not my show. But this draft was just so good that he had no choice but to bring it up. It's an A draft. It's almost an A+ draft.
Well, my friend, I'm not going to go that far. Mondays were created for Murph here, and Mock Draft Monday is
Oh,
something I really enjoy doing in conjunction with this great man. He's more than a guest, he's a co host on these days, and I always appreciate that. So, yes, he's right. We do like to try to feature a good number of drafts, and folks, please continue to send
right.
those in.
Get
Mock
them
Draft
in.
Monday is going to really start taking off here now that the action on the field is completely done in the
Right.
NFL. We're focusing all draft all the time. Of course, free agency,
That-
Patriots news
Yeah.
mixed in as well. Anything you need to know about your New England Patriots, we're covering here on Locked On. But it was always an honor. It still is an honor. It will continue to be an honor to share the microphone with you each and every Monday. Folks, it is always an honor for you to join me and my guest here on Locked On Patriots each and every day. Getting your daily Patriots coverage from us is something we're truly humbled and we're truly grateful to provide. So please continue to support the show. So download, subscribe to follow wherever you get your audio podcasts. And please be sure to subscribe, smash that subscribe button on YouTube. On behalf of the great Thomas Murphy, the legendary columnist from E2Gsports.com, you think we're amping it up? Murph is amping it up all the more, folks. He is going to continue to bring you all the greatest Red Sox coverage, spring training, pitches, and catches this week, folks. Check our good friends over at Locked On Red Sox out as well, doing some great work over there as the team now moves into their next phase and tries to build back to a hopefully a return to prominence in 2023.
Rome.
Going to be
You
a
burned
long
Rome
road.
down.
Going to be a
You
long
burned
road.
down Rome, man. Chime,
Oh, man.
draft the Butchie. Save your reputation. Draft the Butchie.
That's right.
Tomorrow, just before we go, guys, tomorrow, Derek Havens from Patriots 4th and 2 will be joining me and Classy Claire on One Patriots Place. Don't miss that one.
Absolutely, folks. You do not want to
10
miss that.
a.m.
Derek, one of
live.
the true good guys in this business, knowledgeable as all. Definitely you want to check that out.
Yep.
So be sure to smash that the subscribe button to One Patriots Place and definitely
Thank
subscribe so that way you won't miss that. And once again, folks, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend with us here on Locked On Patriots. On behalf of the legendary Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate. Stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. A special thank you to Jason Sullivan and Andrew Caraway for amazing submissions on Mock Draft Monday. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Blocking in the back is still a penalty. Still a penalty.
It is.